Hey, thank you.
Use present versus stimulus.
Okay, all right. You know, I've been to Fergus so many times, and I've been to Detroit Lake so many times. And he probably has.
Yeah. You're working in different. That's right, Dr.
It's my pleasure to get to introduce Mr. Franken. He is not a stranger to Fergus Falls, as you well know. He spent lots of time here, and he's working hard in this area. And we are so happy that he was endorsed by at the convention, the state convention, on the first ballot. He is going to take on Norman, and I would like to introduce you. Hopefully not your first check from Fergus Falls, but a check from Fergus Falls.
Well, this is the best introduction I've ever had. Thank you, Mary Jane. I call an introduction. Not everyone. Let me get up too.
There you go.
There I am. It's great to be back in Fergus. We were at Don Pablo's during a blizzard at the beginning of the campaign. I don't know how many of you were there. Yeah. You know, we've been waiting about 7.5 years to take this country back. And we now have an emerging progressive majority, not just in this country, but in this state. And you saw it February 5th when 215,000 DFLers showed up for the caucuses. Yeah. I want to thank you. And I want to thank those of you who went through that process. There are a lot of DFLers and hot, crowded rooms who spent a lot of hours going through that process. There is a new progressive majority in this country, and we know what we want. We want universal health care. We want an economy that works for everyone and not just the special interests. That means rebuilding the middle class, and that means rebuilding the labor movement. And we want a green economy. One that creates jobs here in Minnesota and around this country by creating renewable energy and jobs in energy efficiency that will address global warming, that will preserve our environment, that will end our dependence on foreign oil, help our balance of trade, and help our national security. That's what a green economy will do. And we want a world-class education for every one of our kids. So that they can compete in this 21st century economy. And we want to restore our standing in the world. And that means finding a way out of Iraq and bringing our troops home. have a lot of work to do. And I want all of you to do it. You too. Young lady. I know you sat the last one out. I want you door knocking. Phone banking. We got to get up early and stay up late. We got to knock on doors. And we got to phone bank. We got to knock on doors till our feet are tired and our knuckles are tired, and then we pick up the phone. Because we're doing this not just for ourselves, but for 5 million Minnesotans who want a senator who is working for them, and they haven't had that in Norm Coleman. On issue after issue, Norm Coleman hasn't been bringing people together to get things done. He's been selling people out to get ahead.
Yeah.
You know, Minnesota ranks 2nd in the nation in subprime foreclosure. And as I go around this state, I talk to folks who aren't in foreclosure, but the value of their homes are spiraling down, and they've lost their equity. And they're worried about ever being able to create any wealth to retire on. And they need help, but they're not getting it from Norm Coleman because he doesn't work for them. He works for the mortgage industry. That's why he voted against an amendment that would help people who've gone bankrupt because of a health care emergency, help them keep their homes. He voted against that. Minnesotans are paying $4 a gallon at the pump. But Norm Coleman doesn't work for the average Minnesotan. He works for the oil companies. That's why he voted to give them billions of dollars of tax subsidies when they're making record profits. Students need student loans, but he voted to cut those. He's not working for the students. He works for the banks. He doesn't work for seniors. There's seniors across this state who can't afford their medicine when they get to the donut hole. But Norm Coleman doesn't work for them. He works for the pharmaceutical and the insurance companies. That's why in Medicare Part D, he voted to prohibit Medicare from negotiating with the pharmaceuticals to keep down the price of drugs for seniors. There are veterans who deserve health care, deserve the health care that they are promised. And Norm Coleman doesn't work for them. He voted time and time and time again against increasing health care for our veterans. You know, Norm Coleman went to Washington to play a little game. And here's how the game works. He collects hundreds of thousands of dollars in campaign contributions from the insurance companies, from the pharmaceutical companies, from the oil companies, from military contractors, and he votes them, you know, special benefits, special tax credits, and it comes out of our pocket. And then he comes back to Minnesota and he doesn't tell us about it. He keeps it a secret. And everyone wins. except for the people of Minnesota. It's time that we had a senator in Washington who took this job seriously. And we don't have that anymore. I am going to be a senator that will make you proud. Now, let me say this to the folks of Minnesota. I'm not perfect. And I don't have all the answers. But I will always tell you the truth. I will keep my spine and I will work for you. Last fall, I went on a 10 college tour. And the freshmen, the youngest students, were 11 years old when George W. Bush became president. They don't know that a president can be articulate. They don't know that the government is actually supposed to work. They've seen Katrina. They've seen Iraq. You know, Republicans run saying that the government doesn't work, then they get elected and they prove it. It's time to make the government work. But saddest of all, these students don't remember when America was the most respected country in the world. We're a great country. We're the country that beat fascism, that rebuilt Europe after World War II with the Marshall Plan. We're the country that sent a man to the moon. We're the country that beat communism with the help of some other countries. We're the country that's mapped the human genome. And we've had enough juice left over to invent rock and roll and the internet. We're a great country. But we're only a great country when we're a good country. And we're not a good country when we're invading other countries on false pretenses. And we're not a good country when we're torturing people. And we're not a good country when the President of the United States is claiming for himself powers that are not in the United States Constitution. Now you're thinking it over, aren't you? Now you're going to do it. We have to restore this country's greatness. And we have to do it for you. And we can do it. We can do it by investing in R&D, by ending this Bush war against science, right? By investing in our children and early education, by investing in preventive health, preventive medical care, by in healthy care and in wellness care, not sick care. We can do this. You know, when I talk to the kids and their kids at the colleges, I always ended with a story from when I was 8 years old. It was the last year of Eisenhower's presidency, and he took kind of a valedictory tour around the world. And I watched this on TV. And every city he'd go to, in Africa, in Asia, in Europe, hundreds of thousands of people would line the streets waving little American flags. We now have a president who can't go to Mankato without them making people sign loyalty oaths before they can go in and listen to him speak. That all ends January 20th, 2000. And it's not enough that Bush is going, his enablers have to go with him. And number one on the list is Norm Coleman. On that day, we will swear in a new president. And President Obama will have a larger majority in the House of Representatives, and we'll have a working majority in the U.S. Senate, because right now we have the majority by the skin of Joe Lieberman's teeth. And I've been looking at the map at Maine, New Hampshire, Virginia, North Carolina, Kentucky. Mitch McConnell is vulnerable. Minnesota, Texas, Corning is vulnerable. At Nebraska, there's an open seat there. Colorado and New Mexico, where two Udalls are going to win. And Oregon and Alaska. I'll flip it around for you.
At least you can read a map.
Well, for you it was okay. I believe on that day we're going to have 56 or 57 or 58, maybe even 60 Democratic U.S. Senators, and I intend to be one of them. And I'm going to need your help. Paul Wellstone said, "The future belongs to those who are passionate and work hard." Thank you for your passion. Thank you for coming out today. Now I need your hard work. I need your help. Stuffing envelope. So sign up. We got things you can sign to sign up and help us. Thank you all for being here today. I'll come down here. I don't know how much longer I can be here, but I have to talk a little bit to the press, and I'll try to answer your questions individually. I can tell you I'll be back to Fergus Falls time and time again. I'm off to Alexandria next, and then to St. Cloud, and then where are we going? Marshall. Then we're going to Marshall, of course. We've just been to Detroit Lakes and Moorhead today, and the day before that to Bemidji and Grand Rapids and Duluth, and started in St. Paul yesterday. So we're going around the state. Thank you for this great welcoming, and I'll see you down the line. Thanks a lot.
Scogan would like to take this opportunity.
Hey, can we hear Dan Scogan?
Our sitting senator, or standing senator.
Or L.
The DFL headquarters will be opening right across the street July 15th.
All right, man. Good to see you.
Oh, my son! Stop it. She's falling asleep. I know. This is part of the reason why.
Hey, can I take a nice portrait shot? I want to do your picture. Turn your head a little bit, 3/4.
I've fallen for Fergus Falls.
All right. Excellent.